So I interviewed Abubakar Salim the other day about his new upcoming game, Tales of Kenzera Zau, which was announced at the Game Awards. That's probably where a lot of people first saw the announcement trailer. Salim I have followed for a while now, mostly because of two things. One, he was the voice actor behind Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins. And two, because he was Father, an android character in the HBO show Raised by Wolves, which was sadly and tragically canceled by HBO during the whole merger thing with Discovery, Warner Discovery merger, where just a whole bunch of shit got canned or taken off of what is now Max or got canceled. And when I wrote about like saving Raised by Wolves, like, you know, I think that show would do really well on like Apple, for instance, and I think they could revive that, and that would be awesome. When I wrote about that, that's when I sort of connected with Salim, and so then, you know, I hear about this game he's making, and I finally get to talk to him about it, and I will link the interview. Unfortunately, the PR people for the you know, that arranged the interview would not let me use the footage for a video, which is crazy to me, because like, why not let us have the video to supplement the article? But okay, whatever. I'm hoping to get him back on to talk about like Raised by Wolves, and also he's got a role in House of the Dragon, which comes out season 2, which comes out here within weeks, really. So we talked a lot about this game. It's an interesting game. I'll show some footage from it in this video. It's a Metroidvania, you know, 2D platformer, combat-centric game. You know, there's the sun mask and the moon mask, so you can switch between those, and those give you either, you know, the sun has like fiery melee powers, and the moon has like ranged sort of ice powers, and then there's a lot of, you know, Metroidvanias are sort of built in a way where, you know, you can't reach everything from the beginning, so you have to find new power-ups and new items and things to reach new areas. And I've only played the demo, which is, you know, on Steam right now. You can play it right now. It might be on other platforms, but there is a demo out there, so you can try the game. It's not a very long demo, but you know, this game, it was interesting talking with him because, you know, he talked about his father who's Kenyan, you know, growing up with, excuse me, with a lot of old stories, you know, African folklore that he read, stories told to him by his father, but then also while he was working in South Africa on Raised by Wolves, a couple things happened. He saw the different way that death was treated there, because he just talked about how common it is, and there's sort of a different perspective around death in South Africa than in his native Britain. And he also talked with some shamans there about some of the, you know, their stories. So he learned a lot more about sort of that culture. He was also playing Ori and the Blind Forest on his Nintendo Switch while filming Raised by Wolves, and really loved that game and thought, you know, this is a game I could do something like this, build a game like this to sort of help process the grief of losing his father, you know, a decade before. So it was an interesting conversation. I have an article that I will link, and I think it's pretty interesting stuff. I think it's an interesting concept to take, you know, to take something like a game, a Metroidvania that's fun. It's a platformer. It's combat, you know, it's combat focused, but also dealing with themes of grief and loss and pain. And you know, a lot of times there are games that deal with these themes. A lot of them are more narrative driven or less action driven, I guess. But I have played like a game like Gris. I thought was a really good action platformer game that I found very emotionally moving. And so it's not exactly, you know, like treading new ground, dealing with grief with video games. But I do love when somebody has a vision and they bring that vision to the table. And I also love, and this is where I'm going to go with this, but I've been saying for a long time I want to see more games. When I want to see from diversity in Hollywood and in the video game industry is not just checking boxes, not just saying, all right, we've got X number of Black and Asian people in this movie, or X number of this, you know, token diversity crap, corporate crap, but actually like telling diverse stories. Like one of my favorite shows is Reservation Dogs, which tells the story of a bunch of people who live out on the res in Oklahoma. And I think it's Oklahoma. It really reminds me of the res here in Arizona. There's Dark Winds, again, another story that's very, culturally focused on Native Americans. It's not just like throwing in some Native Americans in a tokenistic way. It's about these actual cultures. And that's what I want to see with diversity, or not the only thing I want to see, but I would like to see more of a focus on diverse storytelling from people like Abubakar Salim, who's making this game that's a fantasy game based in African folklore, rather than just, tokenistic, whatever. This is actually a story from another culture, and that gives us a broader, better, more diverse catalog of games and movies and things to watch, right? Not just diversity for diversity's sake, but actually telling new stories from different perspectives so we can learn and we can, not just this the most basic kind of representation. I often talk about Miles Morales in this way. I'm glad they didn't just make a black Peter Parker. I think it's better that they made a Miles Morales as a alternate Spider-Man. Not the main Spider-Man, alternate Spider-Man, but gave him an actual, they didn't just make him a black Peter Parker. They gave him an actual character with a different story and different, cultural roots. And it made that character more interesting. And then that gives so much life, again, to the Spider-Verse movies, which I really love. Some of the best superhero movies that have been made recently. So that's what I when I'm talking about diversity, representation, and all that stuff, I'm really focused on like, okay, can we do this in a way that's organic, that either helps the story we're trying to tell, or that's, telling new stories from new perspectives rather than just, checking boxes. Something like Rings of Power, I feel like they added diversity, but they didn't really do it in a thoughtful way. It's much more like we just want to have more diversity. So here we go. And I think they could have handled that better. I think House of the Dragon is actually a great example of adding more diversity to Game of Thrones, but in a way that actually makes the story work better. Makes the story I'm not going to spoil it, but the addition of black people in that show actually makes a central plot point in the story work a lot better. And I think that, worked really well, and I think they did it in a tactful and sensible way. Anyways, I posted this to Twitter. My link, like, hey, this was an awesome conversation. It was fun to talk with, Abubakar Salim about his upcoming game, Tales of Kenzera Zau. Like, check it out. And I was hit immediately with just tons of angry responses about EA, and we really are ramping up towards this like attempt at a new Gamergate, and like everybody's knives are out. All the people online that are mad, they're ready for another like storm the castle moment, and all you can tell like there's at least a certain segment of journalists that are like, all right, let's start pumping out those gamers are dead articles again. And I don't like it. It makes everything. It makes like something like this where I'm just trying to have a nice conversation about a game almost impossible to have, because just people are just like, oh, you're racist, just like EA. And I'm getting hit with this video, which I'll show in a second, by a woman from a totally different studio. Has nothing to do with Surgent Studios or Abubakar Salim, talking about how she doesn't hire white people. And I will play that video now.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something may be okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
Okay. Okay, first of all, again, Surgent Studios is a totally independent studio making Tales of Kenzera Zau. There are white people who work there. I've looked up their LinkedIn page. It's not some, no whites allowed type thing. But but somehow because they're being published as under the EA Originals label, which EA Originals, that's a publishing arm that publishes independent studios games. Like you have an indie game, they need someone to publish. It's EA doesn't actually make those games. They publish them. They do some of the marketing work for them. Cliffhanger is the studio that this woman works for. Now, Cliffhanger Games is a EA owned AAA studio, I guess. What she says in this is that she doesn't hire white people because she wants to create a safe place for non-white people. And obviously, like, even if she has the best intentions here, obviously this is both legally and morally wrong. Like, you can't hire based you should not hire based on race, or not hire someone based on their race. Like, if I go to this studio to apply and they don't hire me because I'm white, that's not legal. Like, clearly that's a problem. I don't think that this reflects EA's company. Like, I don't think this reflects on EA at all. But regardless, clearly this is just one person saying one thing. It's not what EA has lots of white employees. Like, come on. Like throughout all their studios, EA, I'm just guessing, but I would guess that the majority of their employees are white. And I don't think that one thing that one developer individually says on some video or podcast ought to reflect the entire culture of the company. EA has lots of problems. We've talked about them before. But I don't think that this one person... And it's weird to me that this is the response I'm getting. Publishing something totally unrelated to Cliffhanger Games or their Black Panther game from a studio that seems very positive and upbeat and very diverse. Again, lots of white people work there. They're making the kind of game that I want to see more of, which is, let's not just race swap, let's make something new. I've said this over and over and over again. Like, I don't care that they made a black Little Mermaid, but, like, wouldn't it be more interesting if they just made a new story that had a black princess in it rather than just race swapping Ariel? That's just, to me, that feels a little, like, I don't care, but it feels a little demeaning. Like, oh, we're just doing this for show. We're just doing this, maybe even as kind of like a troll move. They're trolling a little bit. They know they're going to get engagement. They're going to get people pissed off and whatever. And it's sad that people get pissed off, but at the same time, it's like, if we want actual true diversity, we should want more games like Tales of Kenzera Zau, which is a Metroidvania that's based on African folklore. And that's, that's made by someone who's interested in that world and is dealing with personal issues. And like, who cares if they're published by EA? Like, if they're published by Sony or Microsoft, it would be an exclusive. If they were published, they could be published by Nexon or any number of other publishers. But the fact is they are making this game on their own. With obviously every developer has help from other people. Abubakar Salim was also a voice actor on season 2 of Vox Machina, The Legend of Vox Machina, which I think is a brilliant animated fantasy D&D type show from Critical Role. And so he's friends with the Critical Role people, and they helped with this game to some degree, with just kind of like getting the company and the all that going, just lending their expertise to this brand new fledgling studio. So anyways, I will link to my interview, whatever other relevant stuff down in the description. But I think that I really hope we're not moving towards another Gamergate. I really think that a lot of this stuff is being blown out of proportion, and I hope it blows over, because it's sort of a drag, because everything becomes there's so much animosity and so much anger and so much. I've seen a lot of just very flagrant racism. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of people who make really broad strokes claims about people being racist. I've been on the other end of that. People call me racist or sexist because I didn't like this or that thing. I don't like the Rick and Michonne relationship that much, so I must be racist. I don't like Night Country, so I must be sexist. Well, obviously that's bullshit. And when you cast such a wide net with that, you miss the fact that there are actual virulent racists out there, and we're seeing a lot of them pop up right now. But I don't know. I hope you play or play the demo at least. I don't know. I don't know if the game's going to be great or not. It's their first game. I haven't played very much of it. Maybe it won't end up being great. Maybe it'll just be okay. But like this, we do. This is what I'm hoping to see more of. I would love to see more games set in different cultures, created by people from those cultures, and I would love to continue to see games set in medieval Europe or Scandinavia. There's a lot of the places that I love to explore, like medieval fantasy or whatever. I think there's room for all of that, and I think that we do a disservice to a lot of people when we think that representation and diversity and all that stuff is simply, making a cast more diverse. Doesn't matter, if it makes sense for the story. I think that does a disservice when we should be trying to tell new stories, which is what this is. Which is why I'm a little bummed out that this is the response to this piece and to this game when it has nothing to do with this woman over at Cliffhanger Games whatsoever. So, anyways, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell as always. I appreciate you guys. Peace.
The key! I cannot reach it.
You move with fury, shaman. Fury and grace.
The mask of the sun and the moon. Baba would say the sun and moon never oppose one another. They labor for the same purpose. Never hold one over the other. It is a balance. Kama uhai na kifo. Floating griot idol. Do you feel that too? That's energy. Inspiration. It is calming. I want to go closer, but...
Approach it, Zau. Awaken its energy.
boy stood before a being he was familiar with, yet a stranger to. Finally, now to the gate.
Zau, I have seen enough. I will journey with you, Shaman. This is the...
The sooner I bring you the Great Spirit, the sooner you return my Baba to me, yes?
This will not be easy, Shaman. Those before you have tried and failed.
Then I will not. Come, we're making little progress standing around. Get to Ikakaramba, get to the Great Spirit.
The girl has a little thin voice. Give her a moment. Let her finish her melody.
I cannot wait. Hey, move please!
Huh?
I said move!
So, wait!
Another obstacle, another obstruction. The gates, the spirits, the girl, now this stupid bridge.
I was not expecting that.
What?
A shaman to be bested by a bridge.
It did not best me.
It did. You were careless. Since we began, you have been so focused on reclaiming what you feel is yours that you disregard yourself, others, the very journey itself.
What? That is not true. I'm doing this for my Baba.
Recklessly charging with abandon, scaring a little girl, endangering her life and yours? You do this for your Baba? You wish to walk this path? Do it with respect.
That girl up by the bridge. She was calling to something in the sky. She may know of the great spirit we are seeking.
Perhaps. But first, you must find a way to the surface.
I know this symbol. Greatness.
Greatness. Fools chase it, yet heroes are found by it. What is such a symbol doing here?
I once saw my Baba paint the same symbol. It must be a way of the shaman, a challenge of some sort.
Not every challenge needs a challenger. Let us continue our journey. We have much to do.
No, you do not understand. Beyond there is a power. I can feel it, one that only we can use. All I have to do is get through it. Prove my worthiness as a shaman.
The choice as always is yours. If you believe you can, then you must. But be cautious.
I've seen these before. Shamans drink it. See how delicate it is. Powerful too.
Yes, you are lucky, Zau. This power in the wrong hands would be disastrous. Today, it has found a hopeful host. You are a shaman of Kenzera. Use this power how the others would have wanted. For good, for greatness.
think that a bridge would best me?
Yes, I did.
Shows how much faith you have in me.
Yes, it does. Tricksters corrupted by their lingering circumstance. They have abandoned their jesting nature for spite. Do not underestimate them, Zau.
That statue, it looks just like the sun and moon masks. I feel different.
Hadithi Bamba. The tale tells us his legend. Long ago, the villages surrounding Ikakaramba were at the mercy of raging floods. It was Bamba, a young shaman, who would quell the water's rage. Bamba took a small stone, imbued it with the power of the moon, and threw the stone from the highland's peak when the waters were at their angriest. The force of his throw was so great, so fast, that it solidified the waters. It allowed the people to leave safely and migrate away from danger. Now, this shaman shrine means to imbue you with your predecessor's power. Bamba's stone. What is funny?
Sorry, Amber Stone? Is that really the name?
These are the stories of your ancestors. He gave of himself, and the people here reveled in his sacrifices.
I mean, for throwing a stone. He got a shrine for that.
His experiences are embedded in the masks you carry. Use these teachings well.
Do all shamans get shrines?
No. The actions of the Nganga dictate who does and who does not.
The waters around the boy fell and cascaded onto themselves with a will of their own. My Baba will have a shrine, as will I. When I bring him back, they will tell our tale, our Hedithi. I will show you.
Focus on the now, Zau.
I am focusing. I know what to do. Return to the surface and seek out this Ikakaramangal.
Over the broken bridge, Zau. Please do not fall this time.